What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modi J and we're locked in. We finally made it. Day 8 of the 8-day recap of Them Season 2. And this episode is titled The Box. Will Don discover the truth in time to stop the killer or become his final victim? Now, everything that's occurred in this season, amazing. Now, they're going to tie season 1 into season 2 at the end of the episode. And I'm going to try to break that down as much as possible. But before we jump into this and we give you the recap of episode 8 of Them Season 2, if you like this kind of content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, then hit your subscribe button and turn your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button. And I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers. We started off with 5,000 when season 1 dropped, and look at us now. So I appreciate all of y'all, and enough talking. Let's jump into it. This is the recap of episode 8, The Box. Starting the episode off, we see that video that Edmund recorded where he was telling Don, "Ever since I left your house, all I've been seeing is blood. How did you get this life? Why did this happen to me? You have everything. You have a family. You have a life for yourself. Why? Why me? Why did you have to leave?" After the tape cuts off, we see Edmund laying on the floor in this ring of all of this yarn with the monster. Now, this wasn't an imaginary friend, and he's sitting here, and all you hear him telling them is, "Hey, we got to make this work. I'm going to bring her to us. We got to make this work." While outside, we hear the police, "LAPD, open up. Open up, LAPD." So Edmund, he's losing his mind. But at this point, we know he doesn't have anything to stand on. His acting career ain't working. When he left his sister's house, she ain't really showing him no love, and it's only been blood, blood, blood ever since then. All you hear this demon tell Edmund,
"Give yourself to me, Edmund. I'll bring her to us. We can become one."
He's telling Edmund to unalive himself, and he will carry out the rest of this mission, and he will bring Don to him. And well, Edmund goes along with it, unalives himself. LAPD kicks down the door, only to find out that there's a body on the ground, and the suspect has unalived themselves. Back at Don's house, we see her and her son Kel in the same bed because they finally made the right decision for everyone to stay in the same room. This is after they got back from Grandma Athena being unalived. Now she wakes up, she goes down the hall because she hears some noise. And when she goes into her stepmother's room, her adopted mother Athena's room, all you hear is, "I couldn't save you." And her body turn around, decapitated, head gone. It might still be in the store. We aren't for sure. But then Dawn wakes up because right now she doesn't know if she's living in reality or this is actually a dream. It's been a long night, and Corey said he was going to be over here the first thing in the morning. Now, Don woke up from this nightmare, and let me tell you, I wouldn't be staying in this house anymore, but Corey ends up showing up like he said he would. He was supposed to be on tour. He popped up and told Kel, "Hey, you know what I'm saying, I want to see you before I go out," but he just canceled the tour as far as his part of it, and he's home now because he wants to be there for his family. We know that Kel has said that the reason Corey left was because of Don and the shifts that she was working, but now it's looking like we need as many people at this house as possible so we can cover all angles in case whatever this thing is, this monster imaginary friend comes back, we can fight back. Don goes into Athena's room after having this dream, which I probably wouldn't have done unless somebody came with me. And now she's just looking at old photos. And you remember that box that Athena had in the closet where she had to admit that she was lying to Don? Well, Don is going through it. And when she goes in there, she sees 2 letters. Now, I'm not sure what the second one was titled to, but this one says, "To my baby girl." So I'm assuming that's to Don. And there may be one letter that says, "To my baby boy," letter to Edmund, because we're going to find out a little bit about them, knowing that they are twins and how they were dropped off at Miss Mott's. Diaz ends up knocking on the door. Now, he's been looking out for Dawn ever since she got suspended from work. He's been looking out for her. Now, he shows up with some more evidence, and he also has information about Edmund. He was the one that told Dawn that he was unalived a couple years ago. When he shows up with the photos, Dawn starts putting things together. The little girls, they were twins. Benny, he had a brother, but he got sent back to Mexico. He's still alive. Benny isn't. Dawn, she had a twin also, but Edmund was the one that went back to Miss Mott's house. She stayed with Athena. So when you start looking at it, it's making sense. Anyone that has something to do with that household or twins is attacking them. But see, Dawn didn't stay at the house long enough, so she never had these issues like her brother Edmund did. Then Dawn starts connecting the dots. Edmund showed up. Everything that's been going on was all because of Edmund. He was trying to show up and tell her that he was, in fact, her brother, but he never got a chance to because remember, she patted him down and then kicked him out the house. So a lot of this could have been diffused if she would have just gave Edmund a chance to say what he had to say. But once you kicked him out, the imaginary friend started to take over. And that's why you hear him tell Edmund, give yourself to me and I'll bring her back. Because the imaginary friend is there in place of each other. Edmund doesn't have Don, he has an imaginary friend. Don doesn't remember Edmund because they said it was an imaginary friend. So Diaz is looking like, oh man, I might need to step away from this case. Now Don is thinking, I need to go to Miss Mott's house. I need to get back in there. But Diaz is saying, stay away from that place. It's a crime scene. And plus, you just don't need to be over there after everything that's happened to you. So when she pulls up, we start getting a flashback. And she's recanting everything that happened when she originally pulled up to the crime scene where Miss Mott was in the sink. So she's playing it back. It's all taped up and no one is here. So she's looking at it. She's talking about the street lights, none of the lights being on. And she's about to enter into the house. The whole time, McKinney and Diaz, they're out in the car and they're watching. Now, McKinney has been after Don since the beginning of this season, and he wants to throw her up under the bus because it seems like he has an agenda of his own, and we see that he might be the R word. Now, Diaz is with him. That's probably because McKinney is forcing him because we know Diaz is cool with Don and he's actually helping her out as much as he can. But McKinney is saying, yeah, she's returning back to this crime scene because she had something to do with it. And you remember during the investigation, they were asking, has she had any contact with Miss Mott? Only to find out she used to live there because she was adopted. Dawn's playing her recording to hear everything that happened when she originally showed up. And she's looking at the wall. There was a clock. The clock was broken. The clock was stopped. It was at 3:17 p.m. if I'm not correct. You guys can correct me in the chat. And she's looking. Where's the clock? Why isn't there? She also hears that some of the glass is broken. Why isn't the glass broken? And she's looking like, man, this isn't the same scene that I was at. It's physically the same place, but everything isn't the same as what I recorded. So it's kind of got her a little spooked. You remember when she initially came here in the closet, there were dolls with their heads detached, decapitation, soiled diapers, and there was also an indication of there was a box or something that was square in the corner because there was an outline of it. Now she gets a little closer this time and she ends up pulling the carpet back up under there. And now she's starting to realize that she's having memories. Wait, I can kind of remember something here. What was it? But you know how it is when we start getting older, we remember something, but we don't remember. I remembered it, but I don't really remember what I remember, but I know I remember something. If that makes sense, put a 5 in the chat so I know you remember what you remember, but you can't remember what you were supposed to remember. Put a 5 in the chat so I know you made it this far. Corey's talking to Kel and trying to get an explanation of what's actually happening. What did you see, son? And of course, if you hear someone describe, I seen a monster with red hair. He was kind of big, 6'3", maybe 225. I'm not too sure. I know he didn't have a shirt on, no OVO. I'm not sure what he really was, but you're not going to believe someone like, okay, you seen an imaginary figure. But Corey is trying his best and he's saying, I'm not going anywhere. But as his son hugs him, he looks in the mirror and he sees the description of what Kel just said. Something with red hair. And he's looking like, whoa, wait. Even as a grown man, if you seen that and you were holding your son, you like, well, yes, son, I don't know about this. I'm hearing they really need my help on the road. I might need to get back on the road. So tell your mom I love her. You guys be safe. If you need anything, I'm just one call away. Don's gathering all this information and goes back to Diaz. Hey, Diaz, I need this information about my brother. He's like, look, I can't hand you off any documentation because if the force found out about that, I would get in trouble. But I can tell you this about your brother. And he hands her the pictures of Donovan. Edmund is killed before. And that's why we seen the LAPD trying to get him because they found the body. Now, Don is like, wait a minute. So my brother has killed before. All of these things are probably connected to him in some shape, form, or fashion because he went back to the house. Hey, I really need this information. But out of nowhere, McKinney shows up, and McKinney has a gun on him, and he pulled it on Don. We all suspected that McKinney was a little racist, and it comes to find out he really is. He pulls a gun and he wants to arrest Don. Now she's saying, "You're not going to shoot me." And you hear Diaz saying, "We don't have enough information." But McKinney, he goes on his little rant. "That's the problem. We should have never gave y'all badges. You people are despicable. When we give you that kind of power, even if it's a little bit, you don't know how to act." Basically saying black people shouldn't be police officers or have power over anything. So this is where things are about to start taking a turn for the worse. Because we know whenever a gun is pulled, you never pull a gun on somebody unless you're prepared to use it. Now, Don is saying he won't. And then we hear McKinney self-snitch and say, "You remember what happened to Lamar Watson? Yeah, I killed before too." Don drops to her knees, hand behind her head. He ends up kicking her in the ribs. Oh, gut check. Diaz is like, "McKinney, you got to chill. You're doing too much." Diaz draws his weapon. Now, McKinney, we got to give him credit. He got a gun. He's staring down the barrel of a pistol, and he's telling Diaz to lower your gun. He ends up, pow! He hits Diaz in the shoulder. Diaz drops to the ground. He goes back to arresting Don, and we're like, "Oh, damn, Diaz. Why ain't you fire off first? Why you ain't do something?" So Diaz is on the ground. He hurt with the shoulder shot. McKinney is doing what he does best, arresting niggas. McKinney goes over there to talk some trash to Diaz. Dawn, she had another pistol in her boot. She pulls the pistol out. McKinney jumps on her and they start tussling. Ooh, ow, boop, pow, pow, ow. We like, oh, damn. And Diaz is just over here sitting there watching, ain't helping out, ain't trying to get his gun up off the floor, nothing. And then all you hear is pop. Who got shot? Man down. Who got shot? Don ends up shooting McKinney. R.I.P. Diaz is on the floor. He shot me in the shoulder. She like, "I'm going to call for backup. I'm going to get backup this time. I'm not going to go out and do it on my own anymore." Now, one thing I noticed about this family, either they're frugal or they're just really cheap, because whenever they hear some noises, they never turn on all of the lights. Even in my house, I turn on the lights whenever I go anywhere. Downstairs, I have motion lights. I have one on my stair, one by my front door, one in the dining room. So when I walk out of my bedroom, all of the motion sensor lights turn on so I can see everything. But there's some noise going on upstairs, and it's the Raggedy Andy noise. It's the theme song. Now, Corey was downstairs doing the dishes. And what does the hero do? He picks up a knife to go do some investigating. But he didn't turn on any lights. He went upstairs. There was yarn everywhere. The music starts to slowly fade. That would have been a number one indicator of me going back downstairs or trying to turn on a light or something. But as he's walking, out of nowhere, the yarn wraps around his legs. And then we see the imaginary friend monster, whatever it is, pulling them on in, reeling them on in. Now, Kel is downstairs, and he hears a thud from when his dad hits the ground. And he's like, I don't think I'm about to go up there and mess with that. I've already experienced having yarn in my mouth. Dawn says she has some memories. So she ends up going back to the Mott house. And when she gets there, it's a flashback of when she was younger. And we see her little brother Edmund running around trying to get away from Miss Mott. We also see how the clock was broken. Miss Mott was chasing after Edmund and threw something. It hit the clock. It stopped at 3:17. And that's what she seen when she initially showed up. Those memories. So we aren't sure if she was really seeing them or she was having memories of being younger and they were starting to come back when she was in the house. This is where the show starts getting crazy. You remember Miss Mott was found up under the sink. Well, baby Edmund grabs Don's hand because they're running away from Miss Mott, and he takes her back to their hiding spot. So all these memories are popping up, and now we're seeing that Edmund, when they were younger, he used to protect himself and Don from Miss Mott, and they used to hide up under the sink. Now, Miss Mott does eventually find him, and you can hear her in the background saying, "Don't run. You can run, but you can't hide." Y'all know my theme song. That's what Miss Mott is on right now. So Don is reliving this, and out of nowhere, the imaginary friend snatches her up out of here. it gets even deeper. We were wondering how this would connect with season one. Well, it turns out Ruby Lee, you remember the daughter in the first season? Well, Dawn originally played Ruby Lee's mother in season one, but now she's the daughter of her daughter. This show is wild. But we're seeing when Ruby Lee actually drops her kids off. Now she's saying that the kid's father had left and everything that her family went through when they moved to California, she didn't want that happening to their kids. So that's one reason she was giving them up, hopefully thinking that the kids would have a better life. Now, Don is actually witnessing this, and we see Ruby talking about what happened to her when she was in school. Remember her first day, they were calling her monkey. She dipped her hand in the paint because she was imagining how it would be to be white and went to the bonfire. Everyone was freaked out. They had that fire in front of the house in the OG season. Man, this show is crazy. We even get a glimpse of a scene from season one. This is where we all started, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of shedding a tear over here. We started over here. We reached 5,000 subscribers on season one. We're trying to reach 50,000 season two. Hey, I just had to take a moment and say I appreciate y'all because I think I was like the only person doing them recaps. And here we are again, a full circle moment. Season one, season two. Hey, thank y'all. I love y'all for real. But let's get back to the story. Dawn tries to chase after her mother, but she can't hear her. And then it feels like the walls are closing in on her. Well, Dawn is in a red box in the closet with a padlock on it. She's screaming she can't breathe. She's kicking, screaming, trying to get out. You remember that square shape that was in the closet? Those memories that started packing back up in her mind? Remembering what she can't remember, but remember she remembers something? Well, there was a box, and this is how Miss Mott used to punish him. But we see little Edmund put a straw in the box so she can breathe through the straw. But you also hear Miss Mott saying, Edmund, you better not be helping your sister. Miss Mott was a demon. After she gets out the box, she's finally getting the 1v1 with the imaginary friend. Now he's showing up talking about
Join me. Let's be one.
because he already got Edmund. But she's like, no, I can't do that. I got a kid, Edmund. She's starting to realize that this is Edmund. Hey, no, I'm your sister. You took care of me. You looked out for me. They made me forget you. I didn't want to forget you. I didn't give you a chance, but that's on me. But they made me forget you. It's not like I just said I didn't have a brother. I was brainwashed. And right now, Edmund is breaking her down. He got her body discontorted, just like we seen him do everything else. And she's like, it's not your fault, Edmund. You didn't deserve to be like this. I didn't make the decision. It wasn't up to me. Now we see the other Don, and we like, oh my goodness, what is really going on here? But we know good shall prevail over evil all the time. And everything gets reversed because the truth is starting to come out and they start breaking the imaginary friend down. Bones are breaking, arms are turning, fingers twitching, head popping. Man. And Don is just watching all of this. This is some freaky stuff. She finally gets the chance to talk to Edmund, and he's telling her he loves her. It's unfortunate that had to be this way, but she loves him too. And it's sad that, we see this all the time. Even if you remove like the imaginary friend stuff, kids being split up by the system. Once you get in the system, you start to lose information on any of your other relatives or siblings. And these two, man, they went separate ways. They end up having different lives. And Edmund just wanted a family. But then out of nowhere, we see his jaw pop. Well, Dawn shows back up to talk to the board about that investigation. And all she does is play the evidence. Because facts over feelings every single time. And that's how I roll. If I can prove it, I can prove it. If not, we just talking. But she plays the recording of McKinney saying everything. You know what happened to Lamar. Put your hands up. I'll shoot you. Yeah, they should have never gave you power. So everything Don has been saying has been true. And now the board, they got to eat their words. Now you see the lieutenant trying to say, in a couple of months, we can get you a desk job. We want to bring you back. They trying to play PR. They trying to play damage control. but there's nothing they can do because she looks at him and what plays? F the Police by NWA. And she walks out of here because all the charges, you got to take those away from me. Oh, yeah. And McKinney fit the description of the man with the red hair. Well, it looks like the Reeve family is back intact. Corey's showing up for dinners. Man, it's a lovely life. Dawn goes upstairs. She's doing a little bit of reminiscing, but then you hear some footsteps coming up the stairs. And in comes the gentleman from season one. Now, if you go back and watch season one, you would know what he means by what you gonna do. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? When he says what you're gonna do, he's asking you, what are you about to do? Are you gonna tap dance? Or are you gonna get out there and get active and make something shake? Are you gonna go risk your life? Are you gonna go stand on business? What you gonna do? All right, there you go. Episode 8 of Them Season 2. If I had to rate this season, I'm giving this a 9. I'm giving this a 9. I love the season. I love the storyline. Everything was going, hey, how I was expecting, man. I can't complain about it. Let me know what you think about it. Overall, man, shit. I wish it was 10 episodes, no lie, because they could have probably made some more out of it. But this works for me. Let me know what you think. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My name is Mo.J. I appreciate you. We on the road to 50,000 subscribers. We done came a long way in these 3 years. But thanks for watching. I love y'all. I'm out.